Hello again and welcome to Tech Turks. Today I have Doziie. Doziie is the co-founder of Quacktails, a made-to-order service for drinks, especially my favorite, cocktails. So Doziie, first of all, before I ask you about Quacktails, but I do know that you were in financial services, so I really want to know how we catapulted from serving financial products to selling delicious cocktails.
Yeah, from banker to bartender.
Bartender.
I come from a family of bankers, so at home and in my mind, I thought I was going to become, one of the leading executive bankers in Nigeria. But as life, COVID, and just habit would have it, I ended up being a bartender. Do you want me to tell you how?
Definitely.
Just go ahead and speak. Okay, so for me, I don't know how to describe it. I'm a bit of an introvert, so character-wise, I like to be by myself. I don't really like to go out too much, but at the same time, I like to drink, and it's a bit of a dilemma, sorts, because on one hand, to get a drink, you need to go to a bar.
Or have a bar at home.
I have a bar at home, I wasn't that where I'm supposed to say, but and to go to a bar, it means you have to be ready to socialize. And I didn't really want to go through all that to just have a drink. So what I started doing was building a bar at home. And I started going on YouTube. I started buying whiskeys. There's a nice store in VI called Slickers that have really big...
Oh, our friends.
Yeah, they have a big repository of whiskeys, gins, and syrup. So I used to go in there, go on YouTube to just teach myself how to make the drinks that I otherwise would have to go to a bar to order. One drink led to another. Then friends would come over and watch a game. You know how you have friends in your house who come over, they ask you for water and Fanta. My friends started asking me for mojitos, gin basil, and so it was getting a bit,
complex.
Getting a bit complex. So let me put it in perspective. This is about 2018, 2019, when this was just a hobby. I had a family, my wife's sister, who invited me to cater at her daughter's first birthday. And for me, I'm a banker. I've never worked in a restaurant, never worked in a bar. I was just making the stuff at home, and she's not asking me to come and serve people outside. So I was a bit scared. So I told her, look, let's make a deal. You're just going to pay me for the cost of materials, and if I mess it up, that's the risk that you have taken. It's nothing to
concern you.
Yeah. So it went well. We did our first event, so to say. This 1-year-old birthday. And at this event, there was a lady from an oil and gas company there. They're known to have these elaborate
parties.
Yeah. So the lady was like, "Oh, you have to come for our end of year party. It's a big deal." And I'm like, "This is my first, I don't know what I'm doing." In fact, the person who was next to me at the bar was a cleaner from GT Van. So one of the cleaners on our floor. We just packaged ourselves to look like we knew what we were doing. So we went to Sahara, and Sahara wanted to give us the job. They asked us to register as a vendor, and to register as a vendor, you have to register a company and be formal. And we just thought it was a nice tongue-in-cheek joke, we're going to name the company Quacktails, and it's basically quacks, and quack being an professional.
Yes.
So we've never practiced in a professional.
So all this is just impromptu. So
it's impromptu, up to me sitting down here. Probably don't know what I'm doing, but we're here, So that's how we got the job with Sahara.
So how has it been? Reverse engineering, so to speak, getting people, putting logistics in place, taking people's orders. Because I noticed that I think you're social media, heavily social media driven.
Yeah. So things had to change. Obviously, we had demand before structure. Dealing with third-party riders was a big issue because for us, we didn't have a pretty outlet like, say, Chicken Republic, where you can go in and interact with the brand. Our brand was just the pouches and the experience you had with the riders. So the first thing we did is from lockdown, we put our profits into buying bikes and controlling our logistics. So our logistics is our experience.
Yeah.
We had a situation where there was a girl who, a single girl, she lived in a block of flats, and she ordered drinks from us, and we gave it to a go-karter rider, names. And when I saw the guy, like, when you just have a feeling that something's going to go wrong, this guy looked like a proper traditional man, like, that was not really taking instructions for anybody. And lo and behold, he went to the girl's house, and she was like, "Oh, I'm on the so floor. Can you bring my order?" And the guy was like, "No, come down and meet me."
Wow.
And like, she sent us a message like, "Look, your rider is here harassing me in my house." And I was like, "Oh, that's not my rider." She's not my rider. But then I appreciate that that's my experience. So the first thing we needed to do was control our own logistics, which is the experience that customers had. And we just started building from there. Then from there, we started building small, what we call capillary kitchens that can serve different geographic regions. So it was just one problem, just going back to solve a problem. Then our supply chain, before we used to go to ShopRite to pack whatever they had, we had to go back to look for the suppliers. We used to go to the local markets to get fresh produce. But now we have farmers and aggregators in different states who send us stuff, So you know how it is, like, as I said, I worked in GT Bank, and I can't take that GT Bank out with me. Like, in GT Bank, you have to look at everything from your cost.
Have to be anal about everything.
Everything to your deliveries.
So question. I mean, like, and this is, one thing that I've drank quite a bit of. I've been to a few parties that have served Quacktails. So, there's a lot of consistency. So, like, with your whiskey sours, I've had like a few whiskey sours and then margaritas too. But they're very consistent. So how do you, because like when you see these pouches, like for some people, you don't think of, okay, you're a bit apprehensive. You taste it the first time, second time, and still the same. So great. So I wonder, how do you make sure of that consistency? And then how do you try to create that feeling of, this is clean, this is hygienic, this is trustworthy, this is not just one of those pure water type feeling?
For me, the profit is in the process. That's what I say. Like, you can't be.
I like that. Yeah. Profit is in the process. I'm going to tweet that before you.
You can't be a business without knowing like your margins, and you can't know your margins without knowing your costs, and you can't know your costs without knowing what goes into your products. So for us, like in the beginning, we used to hire bartenders. So they don't hire bartenders anymore because to make drinks in a consistent manner, you probably need more like line factory workers more than bartenders. So we have bartenders who are freestyling, feeling like mixologists. And I'm like, nah, it's not. You're not a mixologist. We don't even use that word. Like, we are at best we're barmen. Like, this is garbage in, garbage out. So we have formulas for each drink, and the formulas give us our margins, and our margins lead to our profit. And that's what keeps us in business, because we're not just making the drinks, we're also expense heavy in terms of we need to have the kitchens running, we need to have the bike guys paid, our packaging needs to be consistent, and it's all unit economics. Things have changed from in any small business person's business. FX rates have changed. Now, if you're doing spirits and you're doing cocktails, and this is what happens in most bars, they buy the spirits. 99% of the spirits here are imported, or the companies that are doing that imported, which means they're susceptible to FX fluctuations. Cocktail people also use artificial flavoring, which is mainly imported from France through Monet and Mary Brazil, which is also susceptible to FX. So what we did was, instead of relying 100% on the artificial flavoring, we just started sourcing locally. And if you compare the prices, it's about just a fraction. It's about 20% cost when compared to what I believe other bar or restaurants are using. So it's easier for us to be consistent because this is what keeps our prices where they are, and this is what keeps our taste what it is, the natural taste. And that's why I said we're not ready to drink, we're made to order. So we use fresh ingredients, we make them in our kitchen. We don't call ourselves a bar, we call ourselves a kitchen because we're making our own bases that go into the drink. So if I taste a drink that is not ours and it's not in the packaging, I don't know, and I hope customers would be able to tell the difference as well.
Let me ask a question, and that's interesting. Let me ask a question. Well, I think from a generation perspective, I think people's before COVID, we had a lot of people. You went out to have drinks, and everything was plated, and like even house parties. Today, I see that there's a lot of, like, when people have parties, especially millennials, they want everything disposable. The food comes in disposable packs, and of course, your drinks also come in disposable packs, so you don't have to like wash plates, break glasses, etc. So that is something I'm sure that is helping Quacktails.
Yeah, I think this generation is very like experiences that transient. They're not dwelling like maybe the older generations, you know. And
Your own generation.
My own generation. And I think a lot of inspiration from the younger guys, man. Like, you know, I love like the Gen Zs. I love, you know, the younger guys, the ones that kept us in business. Even on social media today, like you're on Snapchat, you're on Instagram, your stories last 24 hours, and you move on. Nobody's trying to keep anything, and that's what we're trying to tag in. Like the experience is in that moment, and our business model is designed for that. Like we don't have any minimum order. So if you're planning a movie night with your partner and it's just two of you guys, we'll deliver 2 drinks. If you're doing a house party, we'll deliver 50 drinks. If you're doing a wedding, we'll deliver 1,000 drinks. There's no limit to, you know, the experience, and that's what we're tapping into those experiences.
So a couple of questions before we wrap up. I mean, I could be here forever. The first one is, okay, so like, what's typical customer journey? Okay, today I want to order drinks. I'm having a house party. I want to order drinks. What do I do? And how long? Yeah. Okay, today is Friday. I want to order drinks for tomorrow. Is that possible?
Of course, you can order drinks for now.
Okay.
For us, we have no phone number on our page.
Okay.
So nobody's talking to anybody. Like there's a simple process. We have a
I really like that.
Yeah.
Don't talk to anybody.
No need to talk to anybody. We have a lot of information.
If you don't know, yes, we like to bake. You know, like I want you to.
They can negotiate.
Yes.
And every time you get on a phone call, people, I don't just want to negotiate the prices, but our prices are, in my own opinion, they're pretty modest. Like, you know, compared to what you spend on a cocktail outside, and you're getting good quality. So you go on our storefront, we have over 100 products listed. All you need to do is pick what you want, add it to your cart, and we try and deliver within an hour. You know, so you have to make the drinks, put it on a bike, and find your house within an hour. We have our riders instructed not to call until they're in front of your gate. So all our riders have smartphones. We have support systems in our kitchens who use trackers and Google Maps to find the houses. So unless your house is impossible to find, when you order within an hour, you just get a knock on your gate that your drinks are here. It's very simple. It takes a minute to order.
So last question. I mean, like we talked about your raw material. One of your raw materials is alcohol, which is mostly imported. So I mean, like, I know I've tasted a couple of Nigerian spirits, and I'm thinking, when are you going to start? I see that in food where we're beginning to fuse Nigerian food with Western food. Is Quacktails going to start looking at that in that space?
Yeah,
like Gogoro.
Yeah, we
like
have Gogoro cocktails. Yeah. So we have cocktails that are 100% indigenous.
Okay.
You know, but then with the cocktails, like first and foremost, things have to be familiar first. You know, you have to be familiar. That's why we initially started with the classics, where you call it risky size because you know what's a risky size. But we do have Gogoro drinks, we have palm wine drinks, and we have other local spirits. But what I like to focus on is, I brought this, you know, maybe in your spare time you can look at it. It's a seasonal calendar of fruits and vegetables that grow in Nigeria that our aggregators follow. So as opposed to just the spirits, the flavor of the drink usually comes from the syrups that we make. And we make our own syrups from locally procured fruits. So in a way, we've already started that journey.
Fantastic.
But maybe in the future, when we have enough capital, we can go into distillation of our own spirits. We can partner with a foreign brand to bring their own distillation process here and make 100% indigenous. But I don't think it's impossible. I can answer your question.
You did. Derek, thank you very much for coming on Tech Talks, and we'll continue the conversation and maybe drinking offline.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.